Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
We're back for more. We have many questions.
So many questions that come from our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
Yes, indeed. You may have heard some of the names on this episode in the episode that just came out on Monday, but ignore that. Don't mind that. We're playing catch up here. So anyway, just bear with us. We'll get through it. We'll get through it together. Here's one from Allison S. to start us off. I'm looking into writing original fiction as a hobby, and I'm filled with ideas. The problem, however, is that one of the ideas is for characters in a horror movie becoming self-aware and deciding they no longer want to be in a horror movie. It's supposed to be a commentary on the tropes of the genre, but I get freaked out even by horror trailers. From what I recall, you were also a bit squeamish, so how did you handle tackling creepy subjects like Mecha Sally and Metal Virus?
I do better when I'm in control. I mean, part of what gets me with any kind of suspense or horror films is I am not in control, and neither are the victims in these movie shows, whatever. And I think, not to armchair analyze myself here, but I feel like that's part of what causes such discomfort in me, is that lack of control, that lack of agency. When I'm writing it, however, I control it. I am viewing it from the outside. I'm deciding the pacing. I know how it's going to end. I have the authority there, and it's not happening to me. So psychologically, it doesn't affect me as much. That being said, if I'm writing something and I have a visceral reaction to it, I figure, oh, that's good. Like, if I'm in this position of authority and control and I'm still kind of unsettled, I figure anyone who's on the receiving end is going to be even more unsettled, which is the point of horror, is it not?
Correct. That is correct.
Same goes for just about everything else. Like, if it's an action beat and I'm like, yeah, that was awesome, I assume others will have that same reaction. If I'm laughing at my own joke, I guess at least one other person is going to find it funny too.
Yeah, it's usually me. I have a suggestion for you, Allison. This is coming from our Discord chat, is to watch Cabin in the Woods, because it's pretty much that is very much a similar concept to that. So that might help you. All right, we got one from Andrew D. I know you can't really answer timeline questions at the moment, so if you can't answer this, then don't worry. But is it the time eater that appears at the end of Sonic Colors? And if so, does that mean that Sonic Generations happens right after Sonic Colors? Otherwise, if it is indeed the time eater, but Sonic Generation does not happen right after Sonic Colors, then I guess Eggman was still working on his time eater related plans while enacting another plan. Hopefully you can at least clear this up. Thanks. So, hold on, Ian, I want to just say, first of all, that Andrew asked a lot of these questions before you really clamped down hard on the timeline question stuff, to be fair. So,
fair enough.
So, we're still catching up, but yeah, no timeline questions. Axis has a question. As a fellow X-Men fan, I have to ask, what do you think about X-Men 97? Also, what do you think about the major plot twists and character portrayals? Please include Gambit in your answer, since he's one of my favorites. Ideally, answer this question after finishing the first season of X-Men 97. Well, I got some bad news for you. I finished it. Ian did not. I don't think.
I have, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
So
you watched X-Men 97. But you haven't watched Knuckles. But you haven't watched Knuckles. Okay, got it.
Yes. We'll leave it at that.
I mean, on the level of importance, I mean, X-Men 97.
Look,
is, yeah.
The old X-Men cartoon was my religion. All right. And, okay, so going to go ahead and just say right here, huge X-Men 97 spoilers in this answer.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. I was
Jump
wondering.
ahead with the timestamps. Thank you, JR Unbound. If you don't want spoilers.
Yes. I mean, I just want to say that X-Men 97 is like the best thing Marvel's put out in years, by the way. I know you have a difference of opinion on this, I'm sure.
Okay. First off, the source material it's based off of, the old Fox Kids X-Men cartoon. Loved that so much as a kid. Super excited when it came to Disney Plus. I was going to relive my youth. Yeah, rose-tinted goggles are firmly strapped on, but I don't care. And it aged like milk.
It's a little rough.
Stuff stuff that I was looking forward to reliving, I'm like, oh, that's not nearly as good as I remember. And I'm trying real hard to like it. Ooh. So my bar was set very low, and I was honestly going to skip X-Men 97 until everyone was going, no, this is really good.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Because Magneto kind of looks like Granny Goodness in these screenshots. Are you sure? Okay, give it a shot. And when it hits its high points, oh, they are high points.
Yeah.
The entire cast does an exceptional job throughout, no exceptions. Ray Chase as Cyclops is spooky, just how close he hits to the original.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, and this is not to cast dispersions on his original voice actor, but I feel like moments where Scott is in distress, Ray Chase makes it sound poignant and tortured. Whereas if this was the original voice actor, I feel like it would come across as more whiny and petulant, which is partly the era, partly the direction at the time. Again, I don't mean to cast dispersions. Just I really like Ray Chase because good Lord, is that man talented.
I mean, the voice actor originally for Cyclops actually plays Cable, so in the show. So
and he does a fantastic job there.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And as one of like the 5 Cyclops fans, I ate well this season.
You know, it kind of helped me come around on him a little bit.
So great performances. Animation was generally better than what the trailers made it look like. Ooh, they picked all the wrong shots for the trailers.
Well, they didn't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
They don't want to spoil all the good stuff, you know?
And when it was good, oh, it was good. Gambit went out like a boss, like charging something while being impaled by it was like a fan idea I had for years. I'm like, yes, that's how you do it. You did it right. You took it out of my brain. You put it on the screen just right. Thank you. And I completely forgot that Gambit always spoke of himself in the third person, and yet it works. It totally works.
I mean, yeah.
So
it's his thing.
When it was good, it was so good. And when it wasn't, it was awful.
I kind of figured you were going to have strong opinions on this. If you had seen it, you were going to be very, very
none of the character arcs are earned at all.
Okay.
They are conveyed with absolute conviction, and I'm willing to meet it halfway because the actors have done a fantastic job having the characters live those moments, but none of them are earned. And partly because the pacing of the whole season is garbage. Episode one I will forgive because not only are you doing a cold open on an ensemble cast, but you're basically doing season 6 opener on something that's been off the air for 20 years?
Yeah.
That's rough, buddy. You cannot do that elegantly. And what they did was good enough. You know what? No judgment there. That was fine. But good night. They needed to slow it down a lot. Like, I am not a fan of the whole Goblin Queen aspect of the book at all.
Mm-hmm.
And even still, I will say that needed at least 2 episodes. You cannot introduce the concept of Madeline Pryor and the Goblin Queen and the techno virus on Baby Nathan and all that in one bloody episode. No.
I forgot that was all one episode. Holy crap, you're right.
That could have been the season.
It could have.
Honestly.
Yeah.
You know, playing with Jean and her relationship with all the other X-Men and using that as a context for what they were doing. That could have been fine. I wouldn't have enjoyed the main through line necessarily, but it would have done all the characters in the narrative far more service. You know, I don't like that they brought Xavier back. He should have stayed in space the whole season. Bringing him back was a mistake. And I really do not like the shorthand concept that Magneto was right. Magneto is a monster.
Yes.
Just because he suffered one of the most horrible tragedies in human history does not justify him in global extinction.
No, I mean, you're not wrong. I can't argue that.
Yes, yes, he is right in that there will always be prejudice and that there will always be victims and there will always be bigotry. That does not mean he's right about murdering all the humans and mutants that don't, waltz up to his big old floating asteroid M, which somehow survived re-entry and being drug up from the bottom of the bloody ocean. That was done off screen. That was an entire episode subplot of rebuilding right there. Come on. So I appreciate the effort that they did on it. I appreciate the performances, especially. Oh, excellent. I love Hank McCoy's return to form. I missed that version of Beast so much.
Oh, man. He's great.
Like him and Morph just being back to them old selves is almost worth forgiving everything else for.
Yeah. Throwing Nightcrawler in there was great.
Kurt was one of the best
fantastic
utilizations.
Yeah.
Kurt was excellent. No notes on Kurt. Just, he should have been used more. Just make it the Beast, Morph, and Nightcrawler show. I'm good. Yes, starring Cyclops.
I really missed that version of Rogue. I know her arc got really weird, but yeah.
Like, really not a fan of them revisiting her and Magnus love angle thing.
Yeah, no, that's awkward.
Like saying that she was infatuated with him in the past because of circumstances. And because he is an egomaniacal manipulator, he took advantage of that. Sure, fine, I'll buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But to have it as like a wholesome romance between the two of them when he's like double her age, no. Gross. Not buying it.
I mean,
it's like they tried to take aspects of Age of Apocalypse and Joseph and match it all together in 90s X-Men. And no, you can't fit those puzzle pieces together like that. It don't work.
I mean, that's a comic thing, though. That's a comic thing. That didn't just pull that out of nowhere. It wasn't just the cartoon. It's in the source material. Comics. So
yeah, but it's coming from different parts of the source.
Yeah.
It's different contexts. They don't necessarily mesh.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And, I was kind of looking forward to seeing, they rushed into the Madeline Pryor thing, but then it's like, okay, how are we going to explore this between the two Jeans? Jean rediscovering her place in the X family, Madeline trying to find her own life. No, she's dead. Genosha blew up.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering about that. Like, is she actually dead? Yeah.
And to their credit, when Cable shows up during the Genosha side, I'm like, oh, they're going to make this, a time travel thing. He goes back, Gambit doesn't die, Genosha's saved. Well, at least they treated the destruction of Genosha with some appropriate gravitas. And then they didn't. Gambit's still dead.
Yeah.
Like, dead. And I respect that a lot.
Yeah.
And I felt like the maturity that they were going for this, the more grown-up tone, really hit the mark in most cases. It felt like a graduation from where we used to be. And that is kind of hard to do with this goofy scenario. So, again, when it got things right, they got it right. Scott and Gyrick in the interrogation room gave me chills. Excellent stuff.
Yeah.
And when they rushed, which was most of it, it didn't stand up. I'm hoping that season 2, they take their time a little bit. I'm already nervous since we've got in Sabanora and the Asaki-san. On the other hand, with all the pieces set up and their love for 90s X-Men in there, I'm really anticipating us to get Strife, and he is such a stupid idea. I can't wait for it. Strife is one of the dumbest things they've ever done. I cannot wait to see him in animated form. Gimme Strife.
Yep. Being asked, what about Jubilee? Jubilee is awesome, but I really didn't like Sunspot, so
Sunspot didn't get a ton of time to grow.
Yeah,
but he worked as the Jubilee surrogate in this, and Jubilee was great. This is the best Jubilee's ever been.
Oh, absolutely. She was fantastic.
And just super adore the fact that her original voice actress came back as older Jubilee.
Yeah.
real iconic passing of the torch type moment. That was great. The whole Mojo episode. My only regret about the Mojo episode is that, video game Magneto didn't say welcome to the die.
Welcome to die. Yeah, I was a little disappointed they didn't pull out some old X-Men arcade lines.
But the sprite work for those, or the faux sprite work, was just spot on.
Yeah. And I gotta also give a nod to the music of this version, of this incarnation. They really did a good job, and of incorporating the X-Men theme into different tones. Like there was a very at least I think what is it, the Genosha episode. On the Genosha episode, before everything goes to crap, there's like a major key version of the X-Men theme in the background. And it's like, I see what you did there. It's like, oh, that's good. That's good. Perfect. Anyway, we have spent a lot of time on this question, so we better move on to this one from Accursed Paladin. This one's sponsored by Funzablufical. Silver has to go back in time once again to save his future, only instead of ending up with the usual hedgehogs and mad scientists, he has to contend with saving his future from another kind of threat, Mavericks! How would Silver interact with the Maverick Hunters, and how might he take journeying alongside them in another attempt to bring down the rogue machine threat? Would be alarmed by the constant wars between machines? Would he persevere like he would against the forces of Robotnik? And does he get just as sick of Sigma as the Maverick Hunters do?
Here's the crazy thing about Silver. If you think about it, he has the idealism of X, the gumption of Axel, but the decisiveness of Zero.
Yes, and also the capabilities of all three.
Yeah, more or less. Like he really loves X's aspirations for peace, to find a non-violent solution to things, to restore order and make the world something that everyone can enjoy. And like Axel, he wants to contribute. He wants to be a force of good. He wants to make a difference. And like Zero, he is ready to end Sigma, okay?
He's ready to go down. He's ready to throw down.
Like, X, love you, Bubby. I understand where you're coming from. But, and then he hits like all the Mavericks with a building.
Yeah,
plus
much.
His TK can short out electronics, so he can really just like decimate Sigma's forces. He could probably delete the Sigma virus by itself.
Dang. Silver truly is OP.
Or at least he stabilizes at the point where they can do something about him. But yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Plus, he would be super thankful and appreciative of any of the operators tuning in on him. You know? Oh, he gets actual support, help, direction as he's going to fight against these innumerable forces. Oh, that's so nice.
I love you, ladies. You're amazing. All right, let's move on to this one here from Cool Christy 1. If I decide to be a comic book artist or a video game artist, where do I start and what's the best school that I can take?
Where do you start is just draw at home. Practice makes perfect. Doesn't even have to be good. Get a sketchbook, get 3, fill them up, do a page of sketches a day, do figure studies, do nature studies, draw stuff in your room. Get the fundamentals down, get books on anatomy and on structure and on just general art theory. Start there. Get the fundamentals, because the fundamentals are fundamental. If you learn how to break things down into their basic shapes, if you understand spacing, that's going to influence everything else you do. And this comes from someone who can't draw well. Like, when I was studying that, I could see how my art was improving, and then I just got busy with everything else. And if I wanted to go back to art, which I keep thinking of every now and again, I know that's where I need to start. Get those fundamentals back under control, and then you can grow from there. School-wise, number one, ask actual artists. But I've heard a myriad of responses. Some are, you need to go to these particular schools because they teach you what you need to know, but more importantly, they have the inroads to the industry. It's more about the networking. While I've heard from others, just do community college, do self-taught. It's more about what you can do and who you know than actual, like, where you went. It doesn't matter what the pedigree of the degree is. It's if you can hit a deadline and you are versatile. And I think both of those routes have merit. It just kind of depends on who you are, what your budget is, what your discipline is, and what your ultimate goals are. So my extremely vague starter advice is draw every day. Start, checking out books from the library or following tutorials online to get the fundamentals down, and ask other artists that you have access to, or, if you can find Reddit AMAs or anything like that, and get their experiences and their recommendations and see how it fits for you.
Mm-hmm. And also another piece of advice from the chat is don't be afraid to be messy. Just draw. Doesn't matter what it is. Just draw for yourself. It's not everything has to be a finished product. Just draw. Here's a question from Daventhal. So a sniper is part of a ragtag team of vigilantes. One of them betrays the rest, and the whole team ends up dead, besides the traitor and the sniper. The sniper now sees the traitor as their mortal nemesis and seeks revenge. Who is the identity of the sniper? Whisper the Wolf or Garrus Valkyrian from Mass Effect 2? In all seriousness, I know you said the Diamond Cutters were inspired by Metal Gear Solid. Were the similarities to Garrus's Mass Effect 2 loyalty mission on purpose or just a coincidence?
Just a coincidence, but when you put it that way, kind of hard to argue against it.
Well, I mean, why not? Why not both Mass Effect and Metal Gear Solid?
Because Garrus is a completely different kind of cool.
Well, yeah. Whisper is a different character, but still, the concept is the same.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I had actually forgotten most of Garrus's initial mission when recruiting Archangel.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing through the remaster of the trilogy not too long ago and go through. It's like, oh yeah, there's this whole sequence where you're infiltrating the gangs and you're going after them and you fight okay, because all I really remember is post recruitment and just him being in my squad 24/7.
Yeah,
it's Garrus and Tali, maybe Rex whenever you can get a chance. And that's saying something, because a lot of Mass Effect 2's recruitables are great characters, but Garrus and Tali.
Yeah,
you don't even need Shepard, just the two of them on their badass sexy adventures. Just let them have their own game. Come on. Joker flies them around. They do cool stuff. Just let
them cook. Yes. All right. DDR Master M has a question, but it's borrowed from JCR1216. Infinite gets yeeted into your house. He is now your new dog. How do you handle this?
Oh, I just leash him to the table. He can't get anywhere because he's so weak.
I tell him to get out because we can't have dogs. We're not allowed.
We can have dogs in here. We just have a limit of 2 pets.
I can't have dogs in here.
Really?
Nope. No dogs.
What kind of dystopian hole do you live in?
I wouldn't want a dog in here, to be honest with you. We have no yard, 0 yard.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So I would not want to have a dog with that. No. We can't have pets.
So that's responsible pet ownership.
Yeah.
Or lack of pet ownership. It's responsibleness.
I mean, we had guinea pigs. They don't have to go outside. We don't have them anymore, but we did. So, we could have those. Or fish and stuff, but not a dog. No dogs and no cats actually either. So, but anyway, there's a question from Domino. Age ratings aside, how truly vulgar is Surge? Does she have the sailor mouth? I can imagine her recreating the Sonic 1 pose, but with the middle finger.
Yeah, pretty much. Left to her own devices, I imagine she just kind of maybe occasionally swears. It's not really something she goes out of her way to do. If she knows that she's being watched, or if she's around small children, or if she knows it's going to cause problems, then she turns up the faucet.
Yeah. I don't know. Sega won't allow it, though. That's the problem.
No.
That's the problem. Oy. E2 under Paragon has a question. I know we can't come back yet because he's dead, but just for fun. Chaos, God of Destruction, and Guardian of the Chow, for whatever reason, has manifested and is hunting down Shadow, the ultimate life form. How would you write such a setup for IDW, and which of the two Chaos Lords do you think would win? To keep it fair, no cheese or Chocola. So Shadow can't do a Chaos roundhouse, nor can Chaos use his hydrokinesis to freeze the moisture in Shadow's lungs and drown him.
I don't think he can do that anyway.
I was going to say, when did that happen?
I mean, let's keep in mind, Sonic beat the crap out of Chaos Zero the first time they met. And he was just playing with him. I was like, oh, what's this guy? Shadow is going to just obliterate him. He's going to be splashing in puddles. Chaos is neat. Don't get me wrong, but Chaos cannot remotely compete against Shadow.
That makes me sad. Why are you like this again?
Like, maybe if we're talking Chaos 6, Shadow will actually have to put some effort into it. But, like, even Chaos 4 was getting stomped on by Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Like,
what about Perfect Chaos? I think that's what we're talking about specifically. This is
they seem to be implying chaos, just vanilla chaos, store brand chaos, 0-calorie chaos.
I mean, but let's put that aside and go with Perfect Chaos.
Well, I mean, Sonic kind of beat the crap out of him in Sonic Generations without transforming. So I'm sorry. I really want to stand for Chaos, but the numbers are there.
I don't like the numbers. Run them again.
Well, math doesn't lie, Kyle. Shadow would beat Chaos.
Math lies all the time. I should say, you can massage math to make it lie for you.
Chaos is using imaginary numbers.
Yeah. Imaginary numbers. Jesus. Mathematics. Why are you like that? Geoknuckles has a question. Doesn't Bean have the power to make bombs explode with the snap of his fingers? What if he makes Bomberman's bombs explode before he can throw it?
That'd be funny.
Poor Bomberman.
It'd be cheating, but it'd be funny. Which is why he'd do it. Because it'd be cheating and it's funny.
Poor Bomberman. Can't catch a break.
Now, to be fair, I don't know if Bean can actually do that or if it's just limited to his own bombs, but...
Would Bomberman run up and hug Bean? If Bean is going to blow Bomberman up, Bomberman's going to take Bean with him. So
Bomberman just bear hugs him and Bean wipes a little tear from his eye. Just how I wanted it to end. Boom!
Yeah, pretty much. Here's one from Hearts 13. Surge Kit in Archie Sonic pre-Super Genesis Wave. In one of the IPRs of Archie Sonic with characters from IDW, there is a version of Surgeon Kit, but no Dr. Starline. His equivalent is Dr. Finitivus, who modified the imposters to counter Sonic and Tails. And how does the modifications that Finitivus made on Surgeon Kit differ from what Starline did to them in the main IDW Sonic timeline?
I think we're getting a little confused on how much we're merging here, but the crux of the question is if Finitivus made Surgeon Kit, what would the difference be?
Yeah.
And that is, they'd be more mystically inclined rather than biomechanical.
Well,
so
that's less horrifying, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he just kind of twisted their souls like taffy instead of replacing their bones. It would still be the same general concepts, the same powers, the same angst, but it would just have like the minutia is different.
So Surge would be the god of thunder then.
Does beg the question how they would discover this though, because Finitivus is a different kind of arrogant. He wouldn't necessarily leave poorly password protected files detailing all this.
Well,
they
no,
might have to go dig a little deeper to get that, but
yeah, makes sense. Here's a question from Hydrix. Let's imagine a scenario and not be too serious about it, as it's preposterous to begin with. How would Dr. Eggman fare in the One Piece world? Let's say conditions for him are similar to the ones he had when he was stuck on Earth in Sonic X. This is a question that my friend had asked me the other day. Hey, Kazam.
I am very sorry. I don't know anything about One Piece.
Well, at least you didn't say you hate One Piece.
No, I haven't seen any of it to have an opinion on it.
Yeah. Sorry. We don't know anything about the One Piece.
I mean, it's so mammoth in scope at this point, and I've heard so many different recommendations on where to start that it's like, you know what? I'm good. I will allow everyone else to enjoy it to their heart's content. I think I just got to sit this one out. That said, the mental image of Eggman trying to dress like Monkey D. Luffy is hilarious. So
apparently 4Kids made a handy rap to catch you up on the plot.
I am aware of this rap, and that is the extent that I wish to be aware of that rap.
I mean, it's 4Kids. My expectations are pretty low. All right, and a question from JCR1216 is here. The IDW cast watches in as I, JCR1216, devour Whisper's Wisp, gulp down the Chaos Emeralds, which get turned into lemonade dust and put into a lemonade, and munch on the Master Emerald, which got turned into cake unknowingly. How does everyone react? Is Super JCR1216 a thing now?
They're deeply disturbed by the hallucinations you're having from all those mushrooms you ate, but you know what? As long as you're in a safe place and they can observe you until you come down, you'll be okay. They called a doctor. You'll be fine.
It was cake all along.
I mean, you want a more serious answer? You wouldn't get a second away from munching the first wisp before Whisper puts a hole in your head. So go with the shrooms answer.
Wait a minute, her gun has actual bullets?
She'll find a way. She will punch you through the head with hate.
Wow, brutal. Question from John regarding the IDW one-shots and minis. Who ultimately makes the decision? Is it IDW themselves, the writers pitching an idea to IDW or Sega? Or is it Sega saying, it's Tales' 30th anniversary, do something with that?
I think it varies from project to project.
It might be all three.
Yeah, like we are always free to pitch an idea, and if there's room in the schedule and the editor likes it, maybe they'll make it work. The editor may have an idea of, well, this is coming down the pipe, so we want to capitalize on this particular point in time, or with whatever else is going on in the greater Sonic media. And Sega itself may come in and say, hey, we want to synergize, do something about this around this time period. And the editor says, okay, let me find talent who can do that.
All right. Yeah, I figured it'd be all three. And maybe even other things that happen. Other circumstances that you didn't think of. Who knows? And our last question before we take a break is from Malia. Through whatever circumstance, Sonic must transform into Dark Supersonic in order to stop Eggman's latest scheme and or newest berserk deity. His willpower allows him to stay mostly himself, a la Dark Spide or Werehog. But no one owned up to eating his breakfast chili dogs earlier that day, and the negative energy has him feeling extra petty. Since no Chaos Spears or Pico Pico Hammers can stop him, what dirty laundry does he air before he powers down to cause maximum chaos in the friend group?
That implies anybody has dirty laundry. Everybody's so squeaky clean.
Most of them don't even wear clothes. Okay, they wear socks.
I mean, I guess it depends on who ate the breakfast chili dog.
It was Shadow.
I'm kind of running into a wall here because it's kind of hard to think of spitefully petty mean Sonic.
Well,
okay, let me qualify that. Petty and mean over such a trifle. like he'll snipe at Shadow or Jet or especially Zavok, but they kind of earned that. And I realize that we're talking Dark Supersonic, and so he's just being a nasty little thing anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this. I'm having a hard time getting in that headspace.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's like, I mean, also this could kind of put you on the spot because then you have to come up with something bad to say about these characters. And, you know, if you say it, it comes out of your mouth, you know.
Yeah, wow.
Then then that's just going to
Ian Flynn totally thinks Sonic would say this about Amy. Yeah, that'll go over well.
Yeah. Yeah, this might be a little dangerous. Maybe we shouldn't go.
I already recently saw somebody saying, Ian Flynn totally ships these two obscure characters. I'm like,
when?
Did you confuse one of these weirdo shipping questions as like a legit answer? I can't help you there.
It's like, do you think that answering a question about it on the BumbleKast means that you support it? No, that's not what that means.
How about this? Whoever is there to cheer him on in his victory, he just kind of looks down at him and says, thanks for helping the usual amount, which is to say, none.
Oof. Oof. Big oof. Well, on that note, let's go ahead and take a quick break and come back with more on the BumbleKast.
We're back with more BumbleKast, and we're starting off with our weekly giveaway question. Folks who follow us on our Blue Sky, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and Facebook every so often get the chance to have their question answered here on the show free of charge. This week's winner is...
Thunder S from Blue Sky. It's the year of Shadow, so here's a question about him. Let's say that for whatever reason, Gunn was unable to track and capture Shadow, so he was able to roam around the world and fulfill Maria's wish for the past 50 years. How would the events on the games be affected by this?
The cop-out answer is to say that he bided his time until the events of SA2. But that's not really satisfying at all.
You think he's going to actually do that? I don't know if he can handle that.
What can one hedgehog do all by his lonesome? Eggman's not going to be around for 50 years. So, maybe he's, running around the world ineffectively taking out gun outposts here and there, trying to steal a nuclear code here, trying to topple government there, but he just cannot do enough to destroy the world like he promised Maria.
Oh, crap.
That thing that he totally remembers, that it was no way implanted in his brain. This is absolutely what she said. He totally remembers that. So, after a few years of just kind of frustrating himself, then he's like, all right, I'm going to wait until I can find the right opportunity. And then he hides and he waits and he watches. And then Eggman shows up. And I don't know, maybe he just helps to stomp Sonic back on South Island. Eggman gets the Chaos Emeralds early. Whoops. Death Egg launches without any problems.
Well then.
Eggman's like, ha! With the press of a button, I could destroy the world. I will now hold it ransom. And Shell's like, what, this button here? Boop. Pow.
Yep. Makes sense to me. All right, Miles the Power has a question. Mr. Flynn, I need to know, how are you planning on writing the dynamic between Proto-Man and Base? It's a dynamic that the game's never really focused on, but seems like one of the most fun. So, I have to know how you would have written them in the comic when it came time for Mega Man and Base and Mega Man 10 adaptations.
To be fair, I'm not sure. That would be something to have been explored once we got to that point, because I hadn't done all my reading up on Base yet. I hadn't enough to do like the crossover and the blips into the future, but that was not like a real fundamental understanding of Base. I hadn't gotten into his head like I had gotten rock and roll and blues at that point. And with Base being such an important character in late Mega Man, I would want to make sure I was in his head, especially reconciling his early appearances with his later characterization. Something else to rationalize is why Proto Man didn't just take out Base to begin with, because at that point he's kind of cool with his family, and Base very much is a direct threat, and he's not a goof like Wily. He will pull the trigger. So why would Blues let him run around? I mean, at least with Mega Man and Base, Blues kind of gets wrecked really early on. That takes him out of the scenario. But why not anything more before that? I don't know. You're right. It would be great to explore. But I don't feel confident enough with my understanding of the characters at this point to actually say for certain how we would go with it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't get that far.
Nope.
Kind of sucks. And by kinda, I mean really sucks. I missed the Mega Man comic. So bad. So bad. Here's a question from Morlis. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is, and everything is exactly the same, except Link is replaced by Tangle. How does it go? I'm particularly interested in how she handles the puzzles.
Oh, it's the exact same. Just a little different context. She wakes up from her rejuvenating spa day and gets the psychic message of, help! I'm caught in a Ren fair. I mean, Ganon. And Tangle's like, I'm totally going to help this psychic lady. Oh, wait, who's that old man over there? Oh, wait, what's that church over there? Are those pigmen? I'm going to fight them. And like all the subquests are done because she keeps getting distracted. She's freed all the souls. She's beaten all the blights. She's cooked all the meals, gathered all the gear, maxed out all the stats. And she's like, I feel satisfied, but I feel like I was missing something. All right. Psychic lady, spot A. Man, I was like years ago. Better get on that.
Yeah.
Now, the puzzles are not going to be solved correctly at all. She's going to be abusing the physics of it somehow or another.
Yeah.
She will brute force these things, but she'll get through them eventually.
She's going to be a lot more talkative than Link.
Oh, yeah.
And probably also a lot more competent. She might not, like, blow herself up. Might not.
Let's not say things we can't take back, Kyle.
Might not. She might not walk directly into a pool of lava. Might not.
She's going to get like halfway across Hyrule before she remembers she has the Sheikah Slate. Oh, yeah, I can do things with this. Can I send an email? No. Okay. Picture. It has a camera function. Can I do a selfie? I can do a selfie. Time to take selfies with Pikmin.
Can she cook, though?
Eventually. She'll figure it out. Trial and error. And one of those Lynels will be her friend. It may take 700 of them. It may take many a blood moon, but she will find a Lynel that'll be her friend. Won't Ganon be surprised when she rides in on her Lynel friend?
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, here's a question from Mixer17. It's a Kit in Perfect Chaos question. Instead of a who'd win or can Kit control him question that I think you've answered in some way like 3 times before by now, how would you play it out if they could have a nice, wholesome boy and his pet god / water power buddies huzzah friendship montage? Please include Surge's reactions to Kit's new pet beyond the obvious order Kit to get Chaos to destroy Sonic and company. And optionally, how to go if Chaos clearly doesn't like Surge and keeps taking shots at her when Kit isn't looking. And they're just ambiguous enough to be waved off as getting excited and not noticing Surge is right there, with Kit somehow being oblivious to it, but otherwise, have fun.
I mean, you wrote that scenario in its entirety, so I don't think we need to retread that.
Wrote it, you did it again. Come on, you gotta let Ian cook.
I'm imagining a musical montage set to Wipeout.
Okay.
And it's just Kit and Chaos delightfully waving their tendrils as they cruise through every major city and island in the Sonic universe and drown it.
This is a Sonic Boom episode.
More or less. Like, I'm imagining something that's like one of those cheap early Flash animations. You know, it's just a loop of perfect chaos and Kid going, yay! Kermit the Frog style.
Yeah.
As buildings are toppling and the Great Tree of Missouri is getting bowled over and they're crossing the ocean and they slap Angel Island out of the sky. And
I'm glad Missouri still exists in Sonic's world. Oh, wait, you don't mean the state of Missouri.
Never do, Kyle. I never do.
They're the ones who named it that. Here's a question from Noni. Dear guys, I'm up at 3 a.m, and I'm making it everyone else's problem. Starline gets reincarnated as a Chow. What do?
Well, first thing he's going to do is he's going to take over that vile establishment they dare to call a kindergarten. He's going to make it an actual place of learning, damn it. What is everyone doing? Playing with cars? Stacking blocks? No, he will teach them how to properly shake the Chow Nut tree. You will learn the routes in the Chow races. Don't leave anything to chance. Listen to the mechanism inside the jack in the box, and if it's about to click, don't look at it if it's going to startle you. You all become champions. S-grade Chow. Follow him, and there shall be a revolution. Chow shall conquer the world, and all you can hear is ba 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 ba. Chow 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 chow.
Now people are asking if we can pet him and send him to bed.
Yes, you absolutely can. And he's a cranky baby, but he still goes to sleep.
Obviously. You say he's a cranky baby, but I mean, that's nothing new. That's what he was the whole time, to be fair. Here's a question from Onyxodon. Which characters would bond best with Sony's Venom symbiote? While most wouldn't put up with him, I feel like Surge would like him for some reason.
Yeah, I could see that well enough.
Maybe.
Also kind of depends on which version of the symbiote.
I think we're talking specifically about the movie version.
Okay.
Of the latest movie, yeah.
The most cuddly version.
I mean, I kind of like him. He's fun. He's not Venom, but he's but he's fun.
He's endearing in his own goofy way.
Yes.
If we're talking that version of Venom,
let Tangle have Venom. Come on, she deserves it.
I think with most of the Sonic cast, they would kind of get along. It's just they would have varying degrees of I can fix him.
Oh, no.
You know, Amy will get him to work through these aggressive tendencies. You know, Sonic will give him a more positive direction outside of eat brains. You know, Knuckles enjoys the challenge, but you know, we can't just crack open the skulls. It's a metaphorical when we back him up with the fist metal crackle, you know. Tails tries to be patient with him. You know, he's making contact with an alien life form. He has to show them their ways. No, we can't eat them. That's not what they do here. I'm sorry if that's culturally insensitive, but work with me here. Because, you know, having the full 9 kitsune tails and most of them are goo is pretty rad. But Surge is absolutely, let's kick somebody and eat their brain. It's going to be great.
Yes. Surge doing the Bully Maguire dance. Oh, no. Oh, that's good time. That's good.
Surge with a Bully Maguire haircut.
And the outfit.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I like it. He can hide in that spot on her face.
When she gives you that evil grin, she gives it to you twice.
Oh, boy. Ooh. Oh, man. That's good. Question from Rabbit Haver. Ant-Man gives Orbot and Cubot each a knife and tells them to fight each other for his amusement. Who wins? I know Orbot has the intellectual upper hand, but I feel like Cubot has that dog in him.
I mean, neither of them want to do this. They're both really hesitant about it. Cubot's scared because, you know, they're pointy objects. You can get hurt with those. So he doesn't really want to do it at all, and Orbot gets a little overconfident and makes a big show out of it and then accidentally walks onto Cubot's knife.
I was going to say, like, Cubot wins this by accident.
Sorry about that. It's all right. We don't have any vital organs.
I'm just laughing at Cubot has that dog in him. That is, in fact, D-A-W-G.
Well, yes. How else would you spell it?
Cubot's like Luigi. He wins by doing absolutely nothing. Oh, man.
What are I waiting for winning the fight, boss? Here's a map to an abandoned haunted mansion.
Oh, no.
There's a vacuum cleaner.
Oh, no. Orbot? Scurvy Pirate Hog has a question. Body swap scenario. This time, Tangle swaps bodies with Ian Flynn. How does it go?
She's rather depressed with how little movement there is possible with this.
The difference is just it brings her down, maybe.
Quite literally.
Oh boy.
She understands what inertia is now. A body at rest tends to stay at rest.
Oh boy. And how do you handle it?
Are you kidding? I can run and not actually get winded after 5 steps. This is great. I can actually perform cartwheels now. Whee!
You can spider sling yourself around everywhere. Oh man. Poor Tangle. Oh well. Here's one from Soccercott. Which of these same species crossover ships do you prefer? Bunny Rabbit x Bugs Bunny, Fiona Fox x Robin Hood, Sally Acorn x Dale from Chip and Dale, or Whisper the Wolf and Death from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish?
The only good answer is Bunny and Bugs.
Yeah, the last one is a little too... I don't know.
Like, you can get real dark with how you want to say Whisper embraces death. I don't think we need to go there. Fiona
it's a good enemies to lovers story, I suppose.
Fiona is not the right type for Robin Hood, and I'm assuming this is the Disney Fox version.
That's the same species crossover ship. So same species would imply that it is the Disney Fox version. Yes.
Fair enough. And while Sally and Goofball with Heart of Gold Dale does make a bit of sense in that kind of Sonic Sally type of thing.
Yeah.
I can already imagine the Sally Dale Foxglove discourse, and no.
Oh, boy.
I do this enough with Sally and Amy. I'm not doing this again. You can't make me, not even in a hypothetical. I won't do it, Kyle. I won't go back out there.
I mean, Sally's got two hands.
But Bunny and Bugs are both badasses in their own right. They won't tolerate fools or bullies, and they're generally laid back, cool folks. That's your power couple.
All right, we'll go with that. Sweetamo has a question. Neverrock Rock recently implied on Twitter that there are 3 versions of Silver running around the canon. Our main Silver, ESP Silver, who is also 06 Silver, and one more secret Silver. Who is the third Silver?
I have no idea, because there's only one.
This is some weird timeline.
You don't have a silverware drawer. There's just the one.
Timeline shenanigans going on here, maybe. Yeah, this is just a reminder that Sonic Speed Simulator is not canon. So, just so you know. Anti-Switchel has a question. Okay, so we know how Ian and Kyle feel about the previous question, but what about Anti-Ian and Anti-Kyle? If the last question is about a serious topic, maybe a different question would be better.
Good forethought. Anti-Ian is going to go whole hog on the third Silver scenario and treat it as an absolute serious answer, and that you're an idiot for not already knowing this, just to troll people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And Anti-Kyle is not going to laugh at that. The One True Blue has a question. I've been waiting for a chance to pounce on Ian's misadventures of Claus McGee very soon. I'm not too knowledgeable about the steps it would take to get there, but would it be possible to get a physical version or a collection later down the line?
That is the intention. The current goal is, number 1, get the online store back up and running. Because right now, you can't purchase the Claus McGee 1 or 2. That's unfortunate. I'm working on it. Number 2, the current plan is, once issue 4 is complete, then compile it all into a trade, just because the way that printing costs work out, it makes more sense to do it in trade.
Yeah.
If I can find another faster, better route, I'm open to that too. But physical Claus McGee is an idea on the horizon. It's just a matter of time and budget right now, of which I have neither.
Someone fund this man. Give him money. And we got this next question here from the Cyberspace Coco. As a huge Blue Bomber fan, I shed a tear every day because I missed the Archie comics so much. Anyway, one thing that interested me was how all the villains, like Ramoon, the Star Droids, and Mega Man 8's evil robot, aka Trio, were basically all consolidated into one faction. I assume this was just to streamline the Rogues Gallery a bit, but was there any other reason for doing this, or another plan to explore these characters besides just adapting their games?
I wanted it to feel cohesive. I wanted all of this weird stuff to feel like it had a purpose, like it was always meant to link up for this. So that Ramoon was the precursor to what would come later. That we had the forewarning so that when the Star Droids arrived and they had some form of connection to Ramoon, Mega Man and everyone would immediately realize more than just, oh, it's an alien invasion. It's an alien invasion, and you are associated with the greatest evil we have ever known. Oh, God, panic, panic.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like I really wanted to include and incorporate as much Mega Man stuff as I could. I really wanted it to be a love letter to the whole franchise and fandom. And while doing so, I wanted everything to matter. I wanted everything to feel like it was always meant to fit together this way.
Yeah. I'm glad you did. I think, yeah, that's one of the things I miss was just the great world building and everything you did. Yeah, it was, I miss it. I miss it as much as Cyberspace Coco does. Please, somebody bring it back somehow. I don't know how. All right. And our next question is from the Hobgoblin. This one is a bit of a long one, so just buckle up. But I thought that it was, this is one of the few times I actually think the length is okay. Question/scenario. Sega makes a classic Sonic Shuffle 2 or Sonic R2 game that includes all the classic characters. Yay! But when they line up their roster of characters, they realize, oh no, we don't have enough girls. Just Amy, Trip, Honey, and Metal Amy. And we want girls to buy this game. But rather than introduce a bunch of new girl characters, someone at the marketing department must have said, why don't we just make cute kid versions of our already successful ones? And so they decided they're going to make a Classic Cream, Classic Rouge, and Classic Blaze. But they leave it up to you to outline their stories and general personality, with only the mandate that they have to be clearly and legally distinct from the modern versions while retaining enough of the original to still appeal to fans of those characters. Furthermore, while not necessarily an issue for Cream and Rouge, you know you have to explain a Classic Blaze running around with Classic Sonic in a game that supposedly takes place before Sonic Adventure, let alone Sonic Rush. How do you go about threading the needle on a situation like this, where you have to follow what Sega decided, but you know the fan base is going to be split between those who adore them and those who are furious that it screws up the canon entirely?
Well, Classic Cream doesn't work either because she didn't meet the group until Advance 2.
Mm-hmm.
Her cameo in Adventure 1 notwithstanding. So really, and I feel like we've touched on this before, Classic Rouge is the only one you could kind of hand wave and say, yeah, they met her before, and there's nothing in SA2 that really overtly states one way or the other.
I mean, Shadow knows who she is somehow, of all people, and he just woke up.
Well, he doesn't figure it out till later.
No?
And even then, it ain't that big of a jump there, Sherlock. Rouge the Bat, I understand who you are now. You are that famous spy, Rouge the Bat. And the fact that she is a famous spy is already kind of a problem. But the easiest solution would be a classic Sonic R2 where there is no story, where it is just characters there for the sake of having characters. It's a novelty.
Okay, so Sonic R.
Well, no, Sonic R did have a story.
Did it?
Not much of one, but
not much. No.
Eggman, it's the one from like almost all the racing games. Eggman stages a Grand Prix to get the emeralds, and everybody's there.
Yeah.
The other option is a Sonic Shuffle 2, and then you can hand wave it by saying it's all in the imaginary world, which somehow transcends time and space to Blaze's world. And so Cream would probably exist at this point. She would be like a Bobby at this point, but whatever. And, Blaze is sucked into this dream world as well, and everyone has their adventure, and then they wake up and they go, wow, what a weird dream. And they move on with their lives.
It was all just a dream. It was a dream the whole time. That's a satisfying story.
And then when you have Sonic and Blaze meet for the first time, you're like, well, why don't they remember each other? It's like, well, because they didn't remember that one dream that they had an innumerable number of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It can't be more than 1 year ago, though, because, they're all the same age.
Let's move on to the next question.
Wildcard717 is here with our last question. For both Ian and Kyle, what question have you always wanted to ask your co-host on a BumbleKast but never got the opportunity to?
I didn't want to alarm you, Kyle, but I have always wanted to know, what is that thing behind you?
That? I don't know.
Because the way that it's kind of slavering and all those large pointy teeth, it looks predatory.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. It's just there.
All right. Well, my curiosity is satisfied.
I've literally asked Ian every possible question, so I don't think I have an answer for this one. Especially about Sonic.
The most important question I ever asked Kyle was, do you want to do a show together?
Yeah. And I said yes.
And here we are. Heaven forbid I ask anything else. Who knows what'll happen?
It's a good thing you asked me. It's for anybody else, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's enough for this BumbleKast episode.
Yep. And if anybody wants to ask either of us any questions, head over to patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or become a YouTube member. Get them questions headed our way, and we will eventually dig our way through this mountain of questions. Until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Help! Help! I'm being buried by a mountain of questions. So many questions. See you next time. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
Ready when you are.
All right, let's go, gamer.